All right, we are back in the year of 2024 for more. Is that the good?
That
Welcome.
well, I don't know. You shouldn't be a rapper or anything.
Oh,
But yeah, but definitely glad to be here in 2024.
oh man.
Hanging out with Jessica. Always a blast to hang out with you and talk. What's going on in the AI space. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this not the AI show though. This the Hacking with the Homie show. Fun
Oh,
fact.
got you. Yes, I knew that. I was just testing you to make sure we weren't talking about AI stuff. For some
Oh
reason, I thought we were
man.
going to talk about AI stuff because even though it says hacking with the homies on here, for some reason we just was having all this conversation around AI activities, and for some reason I felt like it was to be the AI show. But
I should have said
nonetheless,
something.
nonetheless, I'm happy to be here.
So this is episode 10 of Hacking with the Homies podcast. This is our first episode of the year. So happy new year if we haven't seen you yet.
Yes, happy New Year.
I gotta repost our stuff. I'm so used to just being able to like I go live usually to my LinkedIn. So now I gotta I gotta do what you usually have to do.
Oh,
Go through the whole
post.
rigmarole. Yeah. You gotta post it so people can know. Now I'm really curious if people are gonna be seeing us on LinkedIn at 7 o'clock at night. But you never know. You never know.
Well, I kind of like it because usually we're doing it during the day, and maybe people don't necessarily have the time to check us out during the day.
Mm.
So maybe people will check us out at night. So we'll see.
Well, I'm excited. If you can already tell, the year is off to a very I would say it's been an uphill battle getting into 2024. Totally extremely excited about everything that's going on, but also there's so much going on right now. Um, so today I thought it would be good to have this kind of general discussion of the title I made was what do software engineers really do? And the reason why this is interesting to me is because I'm like, we are both what we would classify as software engineers, but in our day-to-day roles, that's not the necessarily the title that we go by. Like, we're into entrepreneurship. We both have like a lot of different projects and irons in the fire in all these different ways. So, yeah, I was, we have goals, we have things that we're working on, and maybe some people are not looking to live that traditional 9 to 5. So I felt like we could talk a little bit more about that, kind of kicking off the new year.
Yeah, I mean, so I look at myself more as an entrepreneur than anything, and I look at like um, any engineering work I do is just another revenue stream. Like the real estate stuff I do, the phone stuff I do, the Airbnb stuff. I guess was classifying the real estate, but the Turo cars that I have. I mean, I look at these mechanisms as all ways to generate cash, and then to buy back my time, right? Because that's really what I'm trying to do is buy back my time. So, yeah, I don't. The software engineering portion is just a superpower that me and you both have, and we use that superpower to our benefit in order to make money.
I agree with that. Actually, before I got into software, um, or how I started out freelancing. Um,
Mhm.
and that was a whole interesting cycle. And then it was funny because So I was freelancing at the very beginning. Then I took a Java boot camp. So I was doing front end. I wanted to become full stack or whatever, and I wasn't. I felt like my self study skills were really tragic at that point. Like I wasn't making time to study or anything like that. So I took my boot camp, and then after I came out of there, I did like teaching and full time teaching, full time software roles. So I got in this phase where I was like, okay, I'm like just a 9 to 5 type of deal, and then eventually, like I'm not. I just feel like that's not really like I'm much more of an entrepreneurial spirit. Like I have to try different stuff. I need to go and figure out, different projects that I'm interested in. Not everything that I do is software related. Y'all see I made jackets. I'm over here like I'm getting in my cricket bag, I guess. Is that what the kids say? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know what they say, but yeah, if you get in the bag, you get into the bag. You're getting to the bag. Yeah, that's what people do. Not
Yeah.
getting in the bag, but you're getting to the bag. Yeah. Yeah, cricket. Yeah, for sure.
So it's just so many aspects to it. So I feel the same way as well. Software is definitely a passion of mine. Most of the stuff that I do does circulate around software, but then at the same time, I've always been that person that was like, I do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So I knew I would never stay like in the 9 to 5 long term. And I have found myself back in the position where I'm like, not really trying, unless it's my own business. So it's very
No, that's
interesting.
no, it's dope. I mean, I think that, the problem with 9 to 5s is that they try and put you in a box, right? And it's hard for you to, if you're a true entrepreneur, it's hard for people to put you in the box. Yeah, sure, I'll do 9 to 5 stuff, but at the end of the day, it's just another revenue stream for me. I don't look at it no more than that. And it's
Yeah.
always so funny when they try and, I've had these jobs where they try and say, well, you don't have this experience. Da, da, da. I'm like, guys, I ran companies, I've owned companies, I've done a number of things, but in the corporate America, you didn't go through the corporate ranks of being promoted as a manager and then the director. But these guys have never, you know, built anything with their bare hands, never put
Mhm.
their own money up, you know what I mean, to make shit happen. So I think that I definitely think that people like us, and there's other people who's listening to us. Um, I definitely think it's a special type of person that is able to kind of be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. It's funny to me when people are like, they just imagine, okay, like quote unquote work from home and being an entrepreneur and like the freedom that you have, but not
Mhm.
everybody can manage the freedom. Like for me right now, I'm like, I don't have a dedicated schedule. I do programs here and there. I do projects. I got a 1 year old running around the house all day. So it's like it's not very obvious necessarily when I wake up. Oh, I have to be online at 9 a.m. to do this thing, right? Like everything is self-managed to a point, and that excites me. But at the same time, I feel like if you are a person that really likes the structure, and you might not realize how much you lean on having to be somewhere at a certain time. When you have all the control in your hands, it can be mentally overwhelming for a lot of people
You talk about the work for somebody or to be
to
like an
have
entrepreneur.
to be an entrepreneur, or to be in that space where you have full control over every particular detail of your life, from the schedule to whether you pick up clients, what you do, when you do it, how you do it, all of that.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a little stressful. You don't necessarily know in some cases. I mean, I've got better, and we talked about getting better and making sure we have subscription revenue, right? I think that's the key, right? Just finding that thing that you can sell over and over again and that people want to pay you for over and over again. I think once you kind of find that thing, then you kind of gives you the true freedom you need, because I think as an entrepreneur, you aren't really quote unquote free, right? Because you're having now the worry, you're no longer worried about pleasing a boss, one boss. Now you're typically worried about pleasing multiple bosses, which is like
Mhm.
all these customers that you have. So, you know what I mean? So it's definitely great to be able to get a something that you subscribe to, and people will pay for it every month, and gives you what I consider the true freedom that I think most entrepreneurs are looking at.
Yeah, and it's I'm glad you brought that up because as I was talking about like how I had originally started in freelancing, then I got into working full time, then I got let go from a job that was like, "Hey, you're doing great all year." And then at the end of the year they were like, "You're not meeting our expectations." And it's like, "How can it be both?" But at the same time, it was funny because I literally was at a point where I had, I think, 2 different contracts where I wasn't gonna be able to work my full-time job, but I still just didn't I like the support, like, I like knowing when my salary was gonna hit the bank. So I
Mhm.
really, like, I was in a stage where I was like, I really should have been walking away from the job, but I wasn't ready, and it just happened for me. So the way that that flowed, I was like, "Okay." Like I said, I already literally had just gotten 2 contracts, but then I went through this phase where I was contracting again, but I really struggled with work-life balance, like you said, because you're essentially still exchanging time for money until you have some type of MRR and that people are gonna, put something on autopilot, and I didn't have that.
For those who don't know, MRR, monthly reoccurring revenue, folks. Okay, that is what you want. Sorry to cut you off. I just want to make
No,
sure
no,
our
no, that's good,
our
that's
our,
good.
our listeners are on page of what we're talking about. But I think,
Yeah.
but I think that's. I mean, I think it takes time to get there because sometimes people go through this imposter syndrome. They're like, man, nobody's gonna pay me every
Mhm.
month or something. Like, what am I gonna put out there? And it's so funny, man. I used to read Inc. magazine, favorite magazine. It'll tell me about all the startups.
INC Inc.
Yeah, INC Inc.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like Inc.
Um, I love that magazine, but now I don't even look at it. Know why I don't look at it? Because now all these millennials, they talk about how they're making money from courses and classes. They advertise and they talk about it on Instagram, and I find that much more intriguing than talking, listening, or reading about somebody who struggled to get their company up and going. Da, da, da.
Mhm.
Um, I just think there's so much money in this whole selling courses. It's just the thing now, right? People want to people want to learn, and if you have a good story or a good service or a good approach for doing something, people will actually subscribe to you and listen. So I um I don't know. I'm a fan, and to me, it's a great way to get like that monthly reoccurring revenue, like at least some of it, kind of like
Mhm.
locked down, so you can go do other stuff. Or this is take
Yeah.
me. Let's just take what we're working on, right? So let's just take what we're doing with MVP, right? So we've been basically working in the MVP space, so minimal viable product space, for the last couple of years now, and I think we like it. So we're
Yeah.
like we're like, well, and we're good at it, I think. So I think we've realized that, oh, we need to like cross pollinate what we're doing into other things. So we got the book coming out. We have obviously we're building a class. Like we already do a course right now that we've piloted a couple times. But
Mhm.
now we're like, all right, well, let's build this into a course that we run all the time.
Yeah.
And then we do certifications for. So I think um I just think for us, we're starting to figure out, like, we really need to get reoccurring revenue for the stuff that we're working on so that
Mhm.
we can go focus on other stuff.
Right. And that was something that so after I went through my second phase of freelancing, then I said, I was working so hard. I'm like, I could just go get a job. So but with the caveat that I told myself, I want to see software at scale. I felt like as a software engineer, I hadn't really worked on specific um I hadn't worked on specific type of software to the point where I would feel comfortable to, really launch my own software company, right? Because I was still pretty junior back in those days. So
Mhm.
I said, I'm gonna go. I want to see software at scale. I have all these things I need to learn in the field, and then I'm gonna come back and get back to being an entrepreneur. And then it was like that was like 5 years later. Um, so it was funny because I did that and I had a really good experience with that. But now I found myself finally coming back to that point where I was like, wait, didn't you say you were supposed to come back here? Like you was never supposed to be doing that forever. So yeah, so now it's like you said, definitely in our generation with, because I'm a millennial, and it's like we're looking at different other types of ways that you can monetize the skills you have and things like that. So the biggest regret I've had is that throughout my entire journey, it wasn't really popular when I was getting started in tech to like make a YouTube channel and build out your content and things like that, even though I taught developers in the space. So that was a big regret of mine because I was like, I could have been, I was teaching in person, but all the curriculum I built was, it belonged to the programs that I worked for, so it's not like I could use those. And then I would do conference talks and I was doing all these things, but I wasn't actually building my own brand, I guess you could say. So that's something I've been doing differently this time. I'm like, I know how everything can work, even with the content that we've been working on. I have a whole plan in mind. So it's about to pop because I know what I'm doing. But it
Mhm.
takes time and kind of, getting that right exposure and looking into the different resources. And I'm just grateful that I'm in the era where, I mean, we knew like, oh, hey, let's start a video podcast, like, and let's do this thing, let's do that thing, just because that's the kind of stuff that, like you said, our generation is really into that.
Yeah, and I think, I went through the same thing, right? Working for a company, and they're like, we're not going to promote you because you haven't been out doing writing at that time, as really writing articles about the technology and publishing it on their website and their blog and things of that nature.
Hmm.
And I early on, I was like, why am I going to do this for y'all? Why am I going to build this for y'all? This doesn't help my personal brand, and that burns me up when companies be like, oh yeah, you can build your brand by writing articles and stuff like that.
By writing stuff that I don't even get to like cross
Yeah,
publish to my own
yeah,
website.
I mean,
No.
it's one of those things where it's like, yes, you get like, yes, your name's on what you're writing for them, but it's really not. You're not really. It doesn't have your name on it. It's really. It does
Exactly.
have your name as the author, but the IP that you're writing about is some other company, right? They're not coming to you to
You're
buy
building
buy
their
product.
brand.
Correct. Correct. So that's when I realized when people tell me that, and I'm just like, you know what, that's fine, whatever. And that's when I was just like, fine, you don't want to promote me for uh for the other work I'm doing. You really want to promote me only if I'm helping to build your brand. And that's when I was like, you know what? It's going to take a while, but I can build content. I think I can
Mhm.
sell this content, and I think that's where we are. I mean, obviously, I've
Mhm.
been doing some of that for the other things I do, and I've been playing
I'm
around with
really
that.
proud of you also because
Yeah.
yeah, man, I took a look at your, is it Melt API? What's it called?
Oh
Melt,
yes,
right?
melt. Yep, melt.
I
Yep.
took a look at the web. I saw the thumbnail. I was like, okay, he getting there. He going up. Like every time it's a more improvements. And that's just at the surface level what I can see.
I appreciate that. Thank you, man. I feel, coming from you, that's a big thing. This is what's up. I feel happy. But I think this is what I think all the people out here listening need to figure out how to do this year. I know this is like, what do software engineers really do? Software engineers really do. We really write software, but I think at the end of the
Mhm.
day, you need to be building your brand is what you really need to
Yes.
be doing. And you can do that in a number of different ways. I think, obviously GitHub is the most, you know, obvious way that you can do it. But I think that you can start, obviously sometimes you're writing code that's living in a private repo. So not necessarily
Mhm.
you can share that content. But I think there's certain strategies, certain things that you can share with people to to build your own brand, right? So again,
Definitely.
I'm gonna use MVP as another example. Like me and you were like, hey, let's write a book around MVP. So we're like, all right, let's do that. So I think there's ways that you can find your avenue. So if you don't, I definitely think being a software engineer is going to be a job that's going to be around for a long time, but it is a
Mhm.
young person's game. Okay,
Yeah.
that's how I look at it. It is a young
Yeah.
person's game. If you don't want to be doing this for, even if you're a manager, you're like, oh no, I'm the director of, or now I'm the VP. It is still, you're dealing with younger devs, new technology. It's a lot. I think you should be building your brand about something that's maybe around or in is parallel to what you're doing, that
Mhm.
you can somehow get out of the day to day of
Yeah.
whatever job you have, so you can get freedom.
Yeah, because honestly, and again, it's not gonna necessarily be for everyone because some people they're fine with being like, you know what, got a good job, got good benefits, and then I'm gonna retire at some point. But like me, I'm like, I cannot sit in somebody's I mean cubicle for lack of a better phrase. We got nice fancy open workspaces nowadays, but that's still the idea, right? You're still working for this company. I personally, the type of person I am, 30 more years of that is I can't do that. So it's just knowing that there's other avenues. And I'm so glad that you said that about like, okay, how do we build our brands? How do we build our careers? And that's something I was talking about. I don't even know if it was on the live stream. I don't know if it was on the podcast last week. By the way, I've been streaming every single day. um
I've been seeing you. I'm proud of you. I'm like, man, she on there. I'm like, man.
Not for the play. I'm
Mhm.
here every single day. But we were talking about for me, right, the way that I envision Meta Dev Girl, right? I had to let people know this so they can understand what the content is because obviously I'm live streaming, but as an instructor, when I was teaching and I still teach, but whenever I'm teaching, it's always this misconception with the students that I have that are like, there's something special about me in which I have some type of special brain power that everything is just perfect. And I was like, that's not how anybody's brain actually works. Like, we have to struggle through stuff when you see us teaching, we planned all that stuff out. We already went through the exercises. We know what the hiccups are
Mhm.
going to be. Sometimes we literally got it written down line by line. This the next line the code I'm gonna write. Where the
Yep.
semicolons go. Okay, but that's not real life. So when I started streaming, I always wanted it to be this is what it was really like in my day to day. This is what I really struggle with. This is how I decide if I'm gonna pick up a new skill or a language or whatever. But now I'm like, I have to think about the fact that I don't want to just teach people tech. I want to teach you how you navigate the career path and whichever way that you want to go. So when you come and see me behind the scenes, yes, you're going to see me working on my projects. Yes, you're going to see me learning languages. I'm about to go back to school. Yes, you're going to see me studying, but you're also going to see that I'm about to get my social media game up. I've been working on building out my YouTube channel, like building out the communities. I've been putting a lot of work into building up my website. I got my coaching stuff on the website now. Like all of these things, I don't want that to be a mystery to people because you get in this point where you're like, okay, even if the next thing you want to do is entrepreneurship, or if the next thing you want to do is a specific role that you want to grow into, it's not just going to happen by osmosis. You have to be strategic about what it is that you're trying to do. So I'm like, I don't care. I will show you the whole behind the scenes of how I have been able to be successful in my career and always going into the different types of opportunities that I was looking for because I was strategic about the entire process.
And to be, this is what I think too, is that um the more popular you get, Jessica, um, people are gonna want to spend time with you. And I think it's admirable for you to, obviously give time, because people, one guy hit me up on LinkedIn the other day. I was like, hey, I just want to, pick your brain or something and get together. I think this is for everybody out here, just not me talking to Jessica, but we got to start thinking to this ourselves, that time is money. Like, if
Yeah.
you want to talk to me, you need, and I know sometimes this is hard for people to get around, but if you want to
It's
really talk to
definitely
me,
hard for
eh,
Black people to get
yeah,
around. I'm just
eh,
gonna say that.
yeah, if you want to talk to me like for an hour and really have a really like detailed conversation about how you can do X, Y, Z and get to the next level, you're gonna need to pay for that, and that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, we give a lot. Like, you're
Mhm.
doing multiple podcasts, you're telling people game, but when they want to talk to you one on one and really want to maybe like really get some real key, see, that's that camera thing I told you about. You get
He's
that
back.
you come back, you know, you really want to get detailed, it's okay for, you know, people to do, you know, like, hey, spend an hour with you, pay for an hour of time with you. And
Yeah.
quite honestly, that's that is it's a game changer in regards to like how we view our time and
Mhm.
view our value. You know what I mean? So just,
Yeah.
I don't know, I would like to see more of that happening for people um like us that do this type of work.
I agree with that. I um I was definitely in a era phase where I was just like, it you want to help people, and the all the different, struggles that I have had over the years and things like that. I'm like, I never see a reason for somebody to have the same struggles that I've had. But like you said, as you were saying that, I'm just thinking about it like, you asking for an hour of undivided attention when we got like multiple businesses going right now. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's different when I can think about it from the perspective of like, I have to not be doing something else in order to sit down. And that's okay. But just, it's something that we don't really think about in that way a lot of times, especially if you've never done coaching or tutoring or mentoring or anything like that. So I didn't even have anything, that let people say, hey, do you want to spend some time with me? I can do coaching, and I can do one-on-ones if you need help with tutoring or whatever the case may be, because I do help people transition into their careers. But I finally put something up. So, in addition to my website being like, hey, here's the content, is now you got the coaching page. You could come on and see exactly what kind of services there are. You could book. I went and did, on the developer side, got the whole Stripe integration going. Go through
Mm.
the process, get your sessions. You can get discounts for multiple sessions, and then you can go to the calendar and you can book. And I literally, when I sat down to do that, I just said, you know what, suck it up. I did all my calendar blocks up until the end of March. So I'm like, okay, I can launch this. I know that people can automatically book. And like, it was just one of those things where I'm like, I've been sitting on that for a long time. For what?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, really, quite honestly, doing the work I do now with TechTown really showed me how valuable having access to experts is, right?
Mhm.
Um, because yes, you know, I mean, TechTown does an amazing job in making these services available to everybody, but there's opportunity to go deeper in some cases, right? Like really, that's in some cases that's what I get paid to do, is to really do these one-on-one sessions. So that's when I realized that I do have value. I
Right.
do. This is not, you know, this is not weird. But it's just that, you know, sometimes it's difficult. You know, obviously TechTown is really paying for my time. Getting individuals to pay for your time is a little different. But I think it's critical,
Mhm.
because at the end of the day, I mean, people pay for all type of stuff. It's just it's how you value the time and money that you're spending. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you know, I'm on my soapbox a little bit, but it
That's
drives
what
me
we here for.
it drives me nuts. So they be like, man, hey man, I just want to pick your brain. I was like, well, you know, like I'm almost, this year I'll be 50 years old. I'm like, okay, so if I extrapolate the amount of time, like out of that experience that you're picking up my brain, there's the school bill that I had to pay for, you know, all these other things I had to do in order to get that experience, and I'm just kind of giving it to you for free. And don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
we already give a lot away. I think these podcasts we do and the meetings we do, and we show up at certain events, those are all, you know, things that we do because we love the community and we love giving back.
Right. I I just had to go on your website too to see what you got going on. I see you got the book time slot on there.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, I had that boy since the last couple of years, man. That's what I do, man. Actually, I'm about to go on here myself and see. Yeah, so I had keynote speaking engagements for NFT. I gotta update this though. I got an API design session for startups because that's the one thing people ask about all the time. Man, I need APIs. I need to set this up. I'd be like, all right, man. Here you go. And then software design document review. I even forgot about that one. Yeah, it's anyway. Yeah,
but I mean, I just like you said, it's important to talk about these things because um we try to talk about what isn't really being discussed. So, yeah, you could go and get the skills and you can go and sit in that chair every day and work that 9 to 5 and that's fine. Like I'm not shaming that at all because it's a lot of days where I'm like I don't have a six-figure job. Why? Because it's really hard. I would say that as an entrepreneur, it knowing that that is always out there because when you are growing your career, you are also increasing the likelihood that companies want to work with you. So I'm like, yeah, I do get the like I got to the point where I get the Google recruiters in my email inbox harassing me. I get the like, okay, because after you so this is what I noticed too. After I got to a certain, I guess, type of role or started working for a certain type of company, then they all poach from each other. So you go from trying to knock down the door to get somebody from Google to even look at your resume or even pick you up in the stack. And then you get the specialized recruiters that's like writing you. I had a recruiter from Google. I kid you not. This man found his way to my emails, found his way to my other email. He was that was after I wasn't responding to him on LinkedIn. I said, let me respond to this man before he end up in my Twitch chat because he was like, and it was fine, it was good. But it's because I'm at the phase where I'm at now, I do have to constantly battle with that, like I could just take like that full-time thing and then it'd just be but I have to remember that I don't like I lose a lot in that process, in that exchange, and that's not something I'm willing to give up. So I know, so that's why I'm like, we're really leaning in to now that we have a content bank, our next phase is the promo. So it's all about the promo now because we got gems, we got everything, but we don't have like our channels are not optimized how they should be. Our videos aren't optimized the way they need to be, and we don't have really like we're not doing any promotion. So now we can move into that phase. That was always my plan. Like, okay, get the content because my thing is and other people can have other opinions, but in my opinion, I'm like I don't want us to start getting that traction of people coming in because we got the promo here and there and then we only got one video.
right,
But
right.
when you got when you got multiple videos for people to binge on, then you have you can do more with that. And just being at a point where you're already regularly doing the content, now you know that you could sustain that growth that starts to come in. That basically was my goal for this whole process.
Yeah, no, I've been watching the process and seeing this kind of go through this. I think this is it's this journey 2024 should be real exciting because um it's this is going to be the year where we really start hitting the trajectory of what we do because I think we've learned what works, what doesn't work in some areas. I mean, we still got a lot of learning to go through, but um I think Detroit is in a unique place. I think there's people that want Detroiters to win. I think that there's Detroiters who want to get in the tech game more than ever these days.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I just think it's a great place to kind of be and really grow in this area, especially when I look on man. I was looking through Instagram and TikTok. It's this one lady who she is called Miss Excel, I think is her name.
Okay.
That's what she calls herself, Miss Excel. So she made from 1 month, she made $100,000 just teaching people Excel.
I think I
But
seen that, and I was like, "I need what the heck?"
yeah, but because the thing is that I think the key here goes a nugget for those who are listening. You don't need to have something super complicated, right? Excel has been around for now 40 years, maybe. I don't know. Maybe
Mhm.
I don't know how long it's been around, but I know when I went to college, which was 20 something years ago now, and we're doing 92. Yeah, I mean, it's been around for a minute. Okay, let's say
I was gonna
30
say,
years.
I
Uh,
gotta let you know that's more than 20 years,
I know, I know, it's more than 20 years.
'cause I was
Okay,
born in 90 and I'm
uh,
33.
okay, yeah. I just had my 30. I forget. I keep dating myself. So yeah, it's about 40 years, I guess, for Excel. So you're teaching. She's teaching a 40-year-old technology to people, because it's just kind of complicated, kind of. There's a lot to it. So I think the key here is that take stuff that is you may think is simple, but
Mhm.
maybe the masses don't, and it doesn't take that much time just to shoot a video and kind of test out the market, aka minimal viable product.
Yes.
And if people like it, they share it, it doesn't need to go viral. Okay, that's a myth. If you get a lot of people liking it, maybe they'll pay for it. And
Mhm.
so it's a great way of getting into the business of building a business that supports a MRR type of business model.
Um, it's funny to me that a lot of especially a lot of tech people are always downplaying their skills when most the average person you walk by on a day-to-day basis, if you tell them that you write software, they look at you like, "How?" You know? But we take our skills, we take the things that quote unquote come easy to us for granted, and that's not the case, you know? And I think a lot of us have forgotten too. What was it like when we first got into this field? You know, we had to really convince ourselves like, "Okay, Imma keep going," because it's not easy, especially when you first get started. So, you know, when you're taking your skills for granted like that, it makes it hard for you to, get in that mindset where you're like, "Oh, this I have something of value."
Yeah, that's very true, Jessica. I think that's the thing. It's just understanding the value you have and then figuring out how to monetize that value.
Yeah,
And you don't need to be complicated with it. You know what I
right.
mean? You just do what you love, figure out what parts of what you love, because everything you love ain't people may not see the same value. But
Mhm.
you just need to figure out the things that they see value in out of the things you love, and just put your this hone in on it, and then create content around it. Um, Before I would be like, oh, you need to go create some product. You need to figure this out. Man, I these working in Tech Town really gives me an exposure to all these young companies and young people, and you working there with Tech Town and supporting MVP program like you've seen as well. It is so many ways to monetize your value. You just have to
Yeah.
take a little bit of time, to think through it. And sometimes it won't work the first time or
Right.
second time, but that's okay.
That's okay. And it's different. You know, you have to have that mindset because like for me, okay, I always want to have a YouTube channel. But when I did my first channel, which wasn't tech related, but it was like you see one subscriber, two subscribers, and you're demotivated because you see all these things, and it's like now the new channel that like finally doing my MetaDev Girl channel, I'm like, there's 52 subscribers at MetaDev Girl on YouTube. And I am excited for every single one because every single one came through a live stream. Every single one came through a course that I was teaching, like a workshop that I did where I promoted it, right? So I know that every person who actually subscribed to that channel is genuinely knows who I am, what type of content I provide, you know, what type of information that they can get from me. They're actually invested in that channel. They're invested in me being, you know, a educational source for them. So 52 people that literally are individual people. Like if I had 52 people in the class right now, that for $100, per person for a 50-person class. You know what I mean? When we take it out of the perspective of a social media platform and put it back into real life, these are individuals that you're
Mhm.
helping, and these are individuals that are interested in the services you provide, the education you provide. It's a completely different way to look at it.
Yeah, man. It's it's always the challenge, as taking those 54 people and make them into like paying subscribers, but that at least builds your popularity up, and a portion of those people will become paid subscribers. And as you keep,
Mhm.
and this is the way it works, is like people are not going to put money up front, but if they start seeing you do consistent content, is what you really talked about, is being consistent with it, and
Mhm.
then people take you more seriously, and then they start listening, they start looking, they were like, you know what, she's gonna do a master class. That master class is gonna be um for the whole 6 months. It's gonna be for 6 months, and it's gonna be $100 every month for the master class. And this is a private stream that any people who have subscribed to this get to join. I mean, boom, you know what I'm saying? Now you've took it and monetized, what you were doing for free, and made it into a master class that people need to pay for. So
Yeah. And even so I don't know if you've ever read this book, or I was reading, so I read a lot of stuff about like community building and things like that, growing the community. But one of the concepts was like 1,000 true fans, right? So again, it's like when you look at different channels and you're looking at these numbers, but if I just asked all my family to subscribe, asked all my friends on Facebook right now, just subscribe to my channel just so I could get the number up, then the same 52 would be completely different, because now I have a bunch of people coming to that subscribe to my channel because yeah, they support me, but when my video pops up in their feed, they're not going to watch it. So they're going to kill my click through rate. And so therefore I'm not going to be able to succeed on the platform, right? So it's like you have to look at it from what's a quality, quality subscriber, quality follower, depending on whatever your platform is, versus just it's a vanity metric at the end of the day. But when you're building it the right way, then like, yeah, maybe the average, that you can get for people to convert over is 10%. But when you have only people that have personally already paid for classes that you run, then maybe your average goes up significantly, because again, those people already know me, those people already attended classes, those people might have sat in a workshop that I did and then immediately went to subscribe. So and I know they have a much more likely chance to actually engage with my content on the platform, which is going to help me to grow to people that don't know me. So I don't know, it's so interesting. But I take a lot of time to get into what does content creation look like, especially with YouTube, because that's where I spend a lot of my time. And that's something that you can definitely learn the process. It's not it's not a black box, but you do have to take that time. And just as we do as software engineers, we take the time to learn our tech skills. It goes a long way to take the time to understand, whatever your avenue is, how can you really monetize that platform.
yeah, I mean, I think that in that it's funny. Our topic is, what do software engineers really do?
This
I
is
guess
what I really do all day, every day.
yeah,
Promise
the,
you.
the answer for us is really, we try and build our brands, and there's other answers to this. Some people be like, oh, I sit there and I code all day and I do all this stuff around technology. That's great. When you get, I mean, I think starting off, you need to, I mean, when you're starting off, right? You're new to the software engineering field. Yes, that's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
But as you grow and you want your time back, because there's only so long you can sit in front of a computer. Like, listen, guys, I got my computer in 1984. Okay, I got a Commodore 64. I've been doing this for a long, long time. So I don't, So I yes, things have changed a little bit. They haven't changed that much, right? It's still if statements. It's still a switch statement. It's still a print statement. It's loops. It hasn't changed that much. But what I'm trying to get at is that you got to, at some point, start planning out what is your strategy to build your brand. Even if you're going to stay at your company, that's fine.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
And here goes the other thing. your company probably ain't even paying that much attention to people. Oh my God, I don't want my company to know I'm building this brand. You know what? They probably don't care. They're probably so busy building their product that they don't care. And if you're concerned about it in LinkedIn, block them. You know,
Yeah.
there's different ways to do privacy. But I'm telling you, just start sharing what you do, and that
Mhm.
will put you into it'll put you into a mindset of, you know, of starting to build a brand. And like Jessica says, it's not for everybody. You know what I mean? But I'll tell you one thing. I am starting to use AI tools on my dad. Like, you know, for me and you, we like the software engineering side of AI, but I don't really use it on my day to day. Like my wife is the one that, like, you know, who really got me into, well, I started watching her use
Mhm.
ChatGPT to really help run her business. And I'm like, man, I got to start integrating these processes into my workflow, because again, I I don't need to be writing these emails and doing all these simple tasks. I need to just offload it and just feel comfortable with the technology and knowing that there are issues. And I just got to make sure I minimize those by putting guardrails around it and validation. You know what I mean?
Well, fun fact, you may not realize that you have been benefiting from the the AI assistants, because we only have podcasts because of ChatGPT. Um, I think I might have talked about this before at some point, but I sat on just starting a podcast um for at least 3 years. It was always like every time I sat down to try to figure out, okay, how are we going to do this and get into what the strategy is going to be, what's the topic's going to be, blah, blah, blah. It was like I get analysis paralysis sometimes. So it was one of those things where it was like I sit down, I'm trying to figure it out, and then next thing I know, it's like 2, 3 years later, and I've never done it. Now, before I co-host another show with two of my friends, and with that show, my other friend Elena, she's the one who always comes up with our topics, and she was the one that was really like the show producer, so to speak.
Mhm.
So all I had to do was show up. And I mean, if you go and listen to them episodes, a lot of the episodes when I was recording, I promise you, at the beginning of the episode, I had to ask them like, "What are we talking about today?" So it was easy for me, right? Because I just had to show up and engage in the topic. But when it came to starting something from the ground up, it was very overwhelming to me. So the moment of truth that I had when it came to ChatGPT was right at the end of the year. No, at the beginning of the year last year. Um, which funny thing, I was at that same friend's house, Elena, for New Year's, and I'm sitting on her couch and I'm like, what's this ChatGPT thing that people keep talking about? So this is at the beginning of 2023.
Mhm.
And I went online and I was like, I think literally the first thing I asked ChatGPT was like, I want to make a podcast about this topic. I want to help like junior software engineers grow their career. Woo, woo, woo. I gave it a basic little prompt, and it literally helps me brainstorm a whole season of episodes, a whole series of coordinating YouTube videos, descriptions, all that, with just, sit here. So that was the moment where I was like, this is my favorite thing ever, ever, ever. And that's why we're almost a year into multiple podcasts. We run two shows together, and then I still run my solo show.
Yep.
And that's all because of that. So, it's really a game changer because I was struggling a lot with just more of the strategy. Like, okay, I know I could talk about stuff, but what should I talk about? How do I kind of like organize it and get everything down?
It right. I mean, that's, it's, thank God for Chat GPT. Okay, so that's we wouldn't be on this show because
We wouldn't be sitting here
we wouldn't be
today.
sitting here, because I am like it's so funny.
Oh, you're
You are
you're you're me in that case now.
I'm you. I mean, yeah. You are the showrunner here. I'm not running nothing. I showed up today with like,
That is hilarious.
ain't this the AI podcast we do? He's like, oh no, this is what hacking with the homies. I'm like, okay. Anyway,
Yes.
so let's
That's
try.
okay though, because that was me. That was me.
I'm trying to get better, y'all. I just need to just focus on some things. Um but it's just that time of year. So I guess
Mhm.
let's hit the shameless plugs real quick. So, um, for myself and me, as both of us are working on some things together. So, obviously, Hacking with the Homies, conference, which happens in Detroit, is pushed into May. I think it's May 17th or something like
Don't
that.
say pushed into May. We made the conscious choice to not try to bring y'all out into Detroit in
That's true.
February no more.
That's
So
true. That's true. That's
it
true. It
is
wasn't
now
really.
a spring event. It is no longer a winter event.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I need to do a better
We
on
had to do that.
positioning in that better. But it is. It was. We had last year we had a snowstorm, and it's okay when you're online. You don't care about weather. But when you have people supposed to come and all that good stuff, and you start getting texts like, "Oh, it's a snowstorm. I don't have power," because people had lost power. It was crazy. Oh yeah, Chelsea. Yes, be a speaker this year for sure. Uh,
Heck yeah.
for sure.
We already got a slew of people. I don't say a slew, but we already got we I've been working on that too behind the scenes. I've been having some one-on-ones with people, so we
Yeah.
already got some speakers on deck.
Yeah,
Um,
man. It's been pretty amazing. I've been getting hit up as well. So we're gonna get the call for papers out for that. So that's obviously going on. Jessica and I are busy trying to finish this book on MVP, right? So
we had
uh
a good like midnight writing session. Both of us ended up in the document writing.
yeah, man. Using Google Docs, man, this is so dope when you're trying to collaborate on um a project, right? Um um so Build Ship Learn is the book title, I believe, is what we came up with. Build Ship Learn. So it's going to be a very very great book for founders and for people who are learning how to be a developer. Yep, MVP, meaning minimal viable product. Absolutely,
Yeah,
yes.
Elliot is in the in is building an app. So
Okay,
yeah.
cool. So yeah, I know you hear my son talking about Jazzy. He lost the dog, so the dog is somewhere around here. Um, um,
Oh man.
so I had to point, so I point the dog over there. So anyway, and then on top of that, we're coming out with courses that will be for MVP as well, right? So really teaching developers how to be the work with founders for building MVPs, because being a software engineer and building working with founders to build startups, totally different. You
It's
need to
a
have,
it's
yeah,
a process.
it's a process. The tool that we train on and we're building this course around is one aspect, but we're also going to need to, and this is one thing we need to work on too, is this: we need to build some coursework on the soft skills, because
Mhm.
you can't just, like, when you start talking to a founder and the founder start explaining what they want to show you, your wireframes and what you're building, you can't be like, oh no, this is terrible. I mean, like you got to think about, these founders are, this is their life. They're working on the
Mhm.
thing. They believe, they're eating and sleeping it. So there's certain ways to engage a founder and to talk through their problems and get them to see the light. So I'm excited about some of that other material that we'll work on, that we're going to get out as well. So
Yeah.
overall, I'm excited about this year. So that's my shameless plugs that I'm working on. I have multiple, but those are the ones I guess is the most important to me right now. What about you, Jessica?
Um, metadevgirl.com/coaching is like officially a thing. I feel real proud of myself for that.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
because it's I am available for coaching, but no, I'm really excited because I think I announced it on our show last year, maybe a month or two ago. I said 365 days of code. That's what I said, right? So that is what is going on right now. 365 days of code. I go live on to Twitch and YouTube. So you can find me Meta Dev Girl on Twitch or YouTube. And I'm here every day. So funny, when we were talking, when we were both writing the other night, I was actually live streaming at at the time. So I'm working on the different projects. Like I said, for me, Meta Dev Girl is really, this is my life. This is behind the scenes. So if you want to see how am I going about the process of building my career? What am I working on? And be able to just like get that. I'm going to tell y'all how to do these things. We got the podcast, we got all these things. I'm going to tell y'all, I'm going to teach y'all, but I'm also going to show y'all I put my money where my mouth is. So don't be surprised when everything that I said was going to happen does happen, because I'm walking this process out real time. I'm transitioning into machine learning, but also that is with the intention of getting into research and getting a PhD um in computer science. So with that being said, yeah, that's what we're working on over there. So you can follow the live streams if you ever want to just kind of click in and see what's going on. um metadevgirl.com is constantly evolving with new content and courses, coaching now, and things of that nature as well. And Beauty Go Go is going to be launching our app into beta very, very soon. So I'm super excited about that as well. I don't know if I lost Mac, but
No, I'm here, but I think beauty. No, I had to hit my camera. I'm gonna figure it out later. But I think that I'm excited about Beauty Go Go. I think that's again, Beauty Go Go is one of those up and coming startups that is really trying to really fix some core issues in the beauty supply. Um, I guess you could say supply chain. Is that a good word to say? Okay. Um, and you became the CTO of that company, and I think that's going to be it's going to be amazing. In this amazing run that they're going to do. So for those who don't have not checked out Beauty Go Go, please check it out. I don't know. Drop the. You have a link. Do
yeah,
you have
I
a
will
link
be I will be it's beauty go go beauty go-go.com, but I will also be sharing more when we officially go live. So yes, 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 yes. So we have all the things going on. Obviously, you see, Mac has little Mac running around right now, and I don't know what baby boy is doing in the back. He's playing with his blocks though, so
there?
all all seems well. But we putting in the work, and we're willing to help you all do the same thing. So if there's topics you want to hear about, things you want us to talk about, we will be bringing guests onto the podcast soon as well, probably starting in the next episode. So look out for that as well, because there's a lot of people in the community and we want to elevate our community.
Yep. And then one last thing is that I don't know when I won't have time to do this, but I'm calling it out. I will start doing a MVP podcast. Jessica will come on as a guest there. I hope that I can beg her to if she has time, but it will be in person at my house. And I'm going to be bringing founders to kind of talk about what was their experience going through the MVP process.
Yeah.
I may bring on some developers or two to talk about
Developers too, yeah.
what their experience was working with founders and stuff of that nature. But I really want more people to understand what it takes, what it is, what it isn't, and just demystify some of the things there and kind of hopefully make the process easier. So
Yes.
watch out for that.
So we are towards the end of our time now, but yeah, I mean, I'm so excited about 2024, and I did. Oh, dang! Did you kick me out?
No, I tried to do something different here. I wanted to make it so we're closer to each other. I'm like, man, this 4K camera, you can see everything, boy. Got pimples
Oh
everywhere.
man.
Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, but we elevating the content game too. So y'all gonna see my studio is taking shape, and we gotta learn how to use these cameras a little bit more now so we can go to 4K. So it's so funny. It's just funny. I mean, I know we want to kind of wrap up, but it's just like y'all don't even know, either as soon as we get online to start the podcast or as soon as we get off the podcast, then that's when we have our power session where we can just talk about all the things that we trying to do. So, we get a little check-in at least every 2 weeks now.
Yeah, let's answer Elliot's question real quickly. He was
We
like,
both keep clicking it. I'm gonna let you.
I got you. How many of those founders are also software engineers, would you say? I would say maybe one. Maybe
One
one.
one out of how many cohorts since did it
So,
start in 2021? Because I've been there
uh,
for every cohort.
yeah, I don't know. I think it's 2021, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's most of the people we focus on are people that have never ever been a founder before and not even thought about being a tech founder before. But so most of them don't come from a software engineering background. So
Okay, Mac, you trying to go, but we just had a special event. You don't get into my Twitch stream, so you don't know the lifestyle. But we got a raid from Dr. Mikachu. Welcome everybody. Welcome in. That means we have another 20 people that just joined us.
mm,
This is the Hacking with the Homies podcast. We host this podcast once a month, but we do host a show. Pretty much, I host a show every week on Thursdays. We typically do this during the day, but today we have a nighttime stream. So we just been talking about the real life of being a software engineer outside of the day to day 9 to 5 traditional. So I'm excited y'all are here.
yeah, that I didn't know it was such a thing to raid. So that's great. I didn't know. So I'm still learning all of the taxonomy of doing this. But yeah, I mean, like Jessica said, we talked about more than just the traditional like algorithms, figuring out how to get through coding challenges in a job or how to peer program. We're really talking about really all the other aspects of it, and really
Mhm.
around really taking your brand, right? Taking your brand and building a brand as a software engineer, because it is like I talked about before, like Jessica said, yeah, there are going to be people that want to retire being a software engineer or move up in the ranks, but there's also going to be people who will be like, man, I don't want to learn a new language. I've already learned 15 languages in my tenure of being an engineer. How do I build a brand so that I'm able to build my own reoccurring revenue stream, doing something maybe in parallel to software engineering, or just doing something different. Like me personally, I'm taking all of a large portion of my money that we're doing, and I'm putting it into assets that I think will survive the test of time, which is
Mhm.
real estate for me, right? So I'm buying assets so that way I don't have to keep learning new languages when I get I was going to say when I get 50, but I'll be 50 this year.
Well,
So,
you cutting you getting you are embracing your cutoff point.
ex- I am. But I mean,
Elliot sent to Bitcoin.
yeah, he said
BTC is
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
Bitcoin.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think Bitcoin is all good too, but people are always gonna need a place to stay. So
Yeah.
just building up that. Me personally, I want a house in Italy. I was looking at Airbnb in Italy. I mean, these Airbnbs is crazy, man. It's nuts. So I am definitely in the Airbnb game. I just want to do more of it, and ideally I would love to have it in other places, because being a software engineer or being in this industry, I can work from anywhere, right? So it'd be nice to be able to go stay somewhere and that I own, right? So I think that's the key thing. I'll adjust my camera a little bit here.
Well, I would like one of those nice houses they keep advertising on Instagram. They're all Michigan houses. They're really big and beautiful and lovely. So, but I'm grateful because it's funny. I used to live next door to the building I live in now. That was right around the time we started Detroit Black Tech. And one of the things that I'm most grateful for is the fact that I know Matt got my back. So it's a lot of stuff I don't know about. And I'm like, oh, you want to have a house in Italy? And I'm sure you are going to have a house in Italy. And if you can just expound on how that's going to happen for me, yes, yes. So I've just been grateful because you can definitely get stuck in that day to day, and not if you are new to the field and you don't have other people around you that have navigated through the field, then you really don't know what the opportunities are. So a lot of things have been opened up to me by being able to work with you and seeing all the businesses that you have going and how you kind of like I don't say it enough, but I definitely really appreciate like you as a mentor.
Well, I didn't even think about it as a mentor. Actually, I just thought I'm your friend, and then I'm just like, hey, I want to bring my friend along with me, because it's no fun to build stuff alone, right? Because I want to at least, and also, let's be honest, we all have an expiration date, and I want because I go to these, I've been to a couple of funerals, and then nobody gets up and say something. I want people to at least come up and say, all right, Mac helped me make some money. Because I don't have a lot of friends that I've made that helped me make money. I have a lot of times I've helped more people make money than people have helped me, and I think that's okay. But I just want y'all to come to my funeral. Okay, just come to my funeral and just say, Mag helped me do something. And by that time, funerals will probably be virtual. But like, okay, anybody have anything
Oh
nice
my
to say?
God, we better
They'll
not have
probably be like,
virtual
okay,
funeral.
let's get this person, boop, and then you be a hologram that shows up, and then you just kind of talk about how great I was. But no, seriously, I think just to kind of, I know we kind of stayed on longer since we had a raid, but I definitely think you know what we're doing here is something special. I
Mhm.
think that as a software engineer, you have superpowers that
Yeah.
can help and enable other people. And in our case, we've helped founders, help them build up a company. A lot of those companies may not go far, but what we've done is enabled that founder to believe that they can build anything if they put their mind to it and if they have the right support and give them the right tools and the right methodology. And that's what I'm excited that we're building and doing together.
Yeah. So, the we can talk about in another episode too, and this is something that I'm doing a lot of talking about as well. There's other things you can do besides the traditional content that people might see, right? Because as a software engineer, you don't have to just only do videos or podcasts or something like that. You can lean into technical projects, which we've talked about. You can lean into, open source and other avenues that is still growing your profile, but it's not just saying, if you don't feel comfortable in front of the camera, that's okay too. That's not necessarily for everybody, but there are options outside of the traditional, staying in the cubicle. I'm gonna keep it calling it the cubicle, even though people will try to make it seem like they don't got those no more.
Right.
So
All right. Well, this has been great. What you think? You think we ready to call it, or what you want to do?
yeah, I'm just prepping my stream because I'm about to just literally continue on after we end our conversation. So because I haven't done my 365 days yet today. So I'm signing in on my computer. So after we end this stream, y'all will see me going live. Um to continue on, I gotta work on my chat bot. I got my chat bot running on the Raspberry Pi for Twitch. So that was a
Wow.
whole
Okay.
project. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that. I have a customer that wants to have a restaurant that wants to people to call in and be able to order online, order via voice, right? I kind of talked them away from that because there's a lot of stuff that has to happen in order to train your model, but they
Yeah.
want to at least have it so that they have a very limited menu that they can order versus like their whole menu. So definitely want to need to chat about that some more. So I'll catch you offline around that one.
All right. Well, I am doing some training, Google Cloud training, actually starting next week about generative AI and whatnot. So, we kind of already talked about it a little bit. So I would definitely be keeping that in mind as I go through the process because they're getting into all the tools. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, I do appreciate everybody for being here. Like I said, if you're on Twitch, or if you're on Twitch, or if you want to go hop over to YouTube, I will be continuing on my stream after this because we gotta do our 100 days or 365 days. But Mac and I will be back for our AI topics. Um, the week after next.
Yep.
So, yes, you can always catch us on Thursdays. Like I said, usually it's during the day, but we definitely had to we had to make life work today. So, that's just reality. But we are always here. You can find Hacking with the Homies episodes on YouTube, youtube.com/at Hacking with the Homies. And you can also find our website, hackingwiththehomies.org. We will be updating the 2024 conference information very soon as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all, or for those that's going to hang around. Otherwise, we will talk to you in the next episode.
Take care, folks.